Hello, friends. Are you also experiencing a lot of energetic shifting inside of you? I know a lot is happening on the outside, and I'm just wondering if you're also aware of what's going on the inside. And of course, they're the same, right? So that's why it's nice to also, you know, check in inside and see, wow, what is what's breaking down out there? Can I relate that to my inner and notice what is changing? What like the I did a video on the cracking of the matrix, right? There's cracks in it so that the light can start coming through more. And of course, the more the light comes through, the more cracks happen, and eventually it's just completely gone. And I can assure you that is what is happening with us too. Whether we experience it or not, I can't say if this is happening for everyone. I don't see that in my circle of friends who are not aware of what's going on. But for those who are tuned in, and I'm assuming most of you here are, you will notice that something is cracking inside, right? And in a meditation this morning, I just felt like I was literally being the light. It felt like a golden glow inside. And then this covering, it felt like it felt like the framework that I have identified myself as. There was just a bigger gap between. It was more clear to see who I am and what I am and what I am not. And I also want to use that phrase from the Bible. It felt like, I think it's something like separating the chaff from the wheat or something like that. That is a really, really great description. I mean, wow. That was put in that Bible many, many years ago. And even though I've heard it before and I get it, this morning it was like, I see it now. This is actually what is happening. And it's quite exciting. So it was just, it felt almost like it's easier to stay with the wheat kernel, with the light, with my true nature, than it was being pulled into this outer that always wants our attention, right? So it felt that just really I could sink in deeper this morning than I normally do. I don't know if it's just me or if it's a general thing, but when I listen to others who are also tuning into this energy, there's a lot of similarities. And that's why I'm imagining that it might be the same for you, that basically that chaff is coming out. Like when you put a wheat kernel in the ground, at some point, well, and then you get the whole plant, right? And then you need to take the chaff off the wheat so you can eat it, or you put it in the ground and then the chaff comes off as the wheat starts sprouting. And this is basically what I've been talking about the last week or so. And the fact that we're seeing it happening so clearly in the world it scares a lot of people because we have been identified with the chaff out in the world, and we're seeing it coming apart. And it's very, very scary when you are not tuned in or connected or feel the wheat kernel that I can use as a metaphor now. That is because that is growing. And the more it grows, the more the chaff has to give. It just has to give. To me, it is so beautiful to really get it at such a core level. And I'm sure there's a long, much deeper core to get it at, but just really seeing how that outside, this in here, it's the same that's happening. We are experiencing it at a personal level, and it seems like we're experiencing it more on an impersonal level, as if it's out there. But the more we can focus on it on a personal level still, by allowing that wheat kernel, that light, to keep growing. And how do we do that? We do that by bringing our attention to it. And how do we bring our attention to what, you might say, right? Well, in my experience, it is that deep felt longing, a felt sense of longing in the heart, in the body, that feels like something that is so much more beautiful than what we're seeing out there, and that we have experienced ourselves to be with that very tight, contracting, limiting framework. So as we are beginning to distance ourselves from that framework, because it is cracking, it's like when you have it here, it's very, very hard to see what it is. All you see is the inside and the darkness, and you don't have much choice. But as that light comes through, there's little cracks, there's more space, and then you can start seeing it from the inside and go like, what is that? I thought that was me. But it doesn't make sense anymore because I'm here and it is there, and there's a gap between it. So more and more now we are having an opportunity to turn our attention into the wheat, the light. And as we do that, that grows even more because now we are opening up to ourselves. So back to the longing, what we are feeling is that wheat kernel of who we are, our I am kernel. It is growing and we are feeling that. We are more aware of it now than maybe even yesterday and the week and the year before, because it keeps growing. And at a certain point, you really notice it. And it's like, wow, I really want this. And what is this? It is not pie in the sky. It is your own I am kernel that is growing and cracking that chaff, that that framework, or that false identity or a coat or a garment. So it's coming off, and it has to, because this is making itself more available. And that is why we are feeling a longing. And for many of us, a longing so deep that I'll start crying, that when we really start tuning into it, you will probably cry. I see it happen a lot in my work. You know, when people connect with this, there's just tears because it's like, oh my God. And it is all you'd ever want. And it is right here. It's just that we have been so focused on the chaff that we did not notice this, or we dismissed it because the chaff felt so much more real. And it does, because you don't have, there's no space between it. There was no space, so you didn't have the ability to just kind of take a look at it. You were glued with crazy glue onto it. So you couldn't see it. It's all you knew, and it felt awful, and you're just resisting it, and you're trying to get rid of it. But it was so sticky. You couldn't get away from it. But now we can more and more. And of course, many of us have been doing this for a long, long time. So it's probably not new to you. But I think there's so much energy coming in right now, and I do hear that from different channels, different people. So much energy coming in, and let us make us available for it, even if you may not know what it is. But make yourself available for this longing, for this new world that many people are out there trying to fight for. But guess who's fighting? It's their own chaff is fighting with the chaff of the world. So it's your own framework that is fighting with the framework of the world, of the matrix. You see, so it's still like this dream thing that's going on. There's no reality in it. But it feels real because that's all we have known, and we may not know how to disidentify with it. I know there's a lot of people, and bless their heart, they're out there fighting for justice, for freedom, for whatever it is. And they really come from a deep sense of integrity, and it's just so important. They really feel they're doing the right thing. And I will not take that away from anybody. If that really is your truth, then you must follow that. I don't think the answer will come from a piece of chaff fighting with a piece of chaff, right? But it might just have to take place just so the chaff can come off more, and also on the outside. So I do trust that everything that's unfolding and everybody's doing what they need to do. But the ultimate goal or outcome is that the chaff comes off, period. And then you go, whoa. And then you start seeing what is here in front of us, and you go, whoa. And then you see that you were fighting an illusion from a place of um, lack of consciousness, although willing to change things. So again, don't take this personal in any way. It's like it's our process. We are moving through all the layers in the way we need to move through, and are able to at this point. So that's why what is happening out there in the world, and this is again how I see it, the pressure that is on right now, it is huge. And what does this pressure do? What is this pressure? It is that wheat kernel, that light that is pressing through. And it's pressing through all this contraction and beliefs and all this stuff, identifications that has been there for so long, and it's pressing, and people are fighting it because they want to hold on to what's familiar and what felt safe, even though it wasn't safe, but it felt safe in this world. So the pressure that is on in the world now, it is absolutely necessary. There is no way that this light can come through and become that in this dimension without that pressure. And it's not like, it's like, oh, get out of my way. It's just, it's just the evolution of consciousness where this is now expanding. And we are part of that expansion. We're not separate from it, but we can always experience ourselves as separate from it, just like our separate sense of self has done for so long. But the pressure is simply for each one of us to sit and be present with it. As long as you let this pressure push you out into the world to try and change the chaff out there, the way I see it is that you may need to be out there fighting and battling and blaming and justifying for a while until that light cracks through those actions. I hope this makes sense. And it would be wonderful if you want to share in the comments below how your experience is during this shift that we're going through. It's huge. I've also listened to some astrologers that I appreciate, and the heat is on, guys. The heat is on, and it's going to go on for probably a year or two more. I think 2027 is when it might start shifting again. So make sure that you are connected to your I am kernel, to your inner light, your inner presence. So you make yourself available for it. And again, how do we do that? You feel what you long for. This is you. When you feel a longing in here, it is you. It's your I am kernel. It's the kernel is growing and expanding, and that's why you're feeling it. So it's like saying, hey, I'm here. It's like, would you want to join me in this expansion? Or do you want to stay identified with this chaff that's going to come off no matter what at some point? So it's better to start joining that longing in your heart for something else. You may not even know what it is, but you feel there is something there. And that's where we need to hang out now and simply make ourselves available for it. And then things start moving maybe a little faster. Who knows? I mean, there is no time in timelessness, but maybe just here in the way we experience it. I think that's what I wanted to say today. It's so alive in me because it's just so exciting. And I'm so excited that I have an outlet for it because it just feels like it wants out. And I'm just a tiny little channel. Once in a while I have some big spikes where a lot of people watch. And I think it's the what's it called? It's how YouTube it's called something. I can't think of the word right now, but it comes out on the sidebar or something that suddenly more people see it, and then they click on it and view it, and then I get all these comments and likes, and it's wonderful. Subscriptions, the algorithm, yeah. So I don't know when that happens or how that happens, but I kind of depend on you. If this resonates with you, please like, comment, and subscribe. The more people do that and share, the more people do that, the more I will get into that algorithm thing. And so it will go out more, and then I might get more people who see this, maybe another few of those that were in the thousands. And otherwise, I'm just little Pernilla here doing her thing with maybe 100 views or something over time. It's great for me because I can't help it. I have to do this. That's the best way I can say it. But of course, it's wonderful. If it resonates for you, it might resonate with a lot of people you know. So, give it a go, share it, and maybe put a link on your social media or share it with a friend, send the link to a friend or something. If it resonates, of course, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. So in that way, I do kind of depend on you to help spread this. It's not my personal thing. It's just moving through into the world. And for some reason today, I moved to just ask you to please share any of my videos with your friends who might resonate. That's how this light can reach more people and crack more exterior, the exterior chaff. So we can all do this together. This is not something I can do on my own, but we do this together. So lastly, of course, I want to just say, please join me this coming Tuesday, March 4th, for my next online gathering called Feel Your Deepest Longing, Find Your Spiritual Calling. And that is basically what I'm talking about today. It's that deep, deep longing. And we need to learn to really make ourselves available for it. And most people don't know how. They don't even know what's there, you know. So that's what we'll kind of be present with on that first Tuesday of the month. And the link will be in the description below. Thank you so much. Have a great day.